Defense, obviously, the stat sheet points and the yardage are a lot, but the big plays kind of is what it came down to. I mean, they made a lot of big plays. You talked about that during the week. Did you think that was kind of what won you guys the game, that the defense, gave up some points, gave up some yards, but in the end, those turnovers and sacks kind of won you the game?
I agree with you 100%. And I said it last week. I'm going to say it again. When you're playing against good offenses, like the one tonight with Lake Erie and the one last week with Findlay and the one next week with Ferris, as a defensive player, you're going to have to cover a lot of ground. You're going to be putting matchups against really good skill receivers in space. So the whole thing is to get to the football, run to the football, and hit people. And we were able to do that on 3 occasions where we forced 3 turnovers. And we talked about the difference in a game like that. Kicking game is going to be big. The turnover ratio is going to be big, and the big plays are going to be big. And we hit enough big plays to help us out. We created turnovers. We won the turnover battle 3-0. And in the kicking game, once again, solid. And I think the big play was the Somsel blocking the extra point, and then us returning it for 2 points. So in those phases that we talked about all week, Mike, big plays, turnover battle, and kicking game, that's how we won the football game. And that's going to be week in and week out, regardless of talent matchups and how explosive the team is that we're playing or how explosive we think we are. It's still going to come down to turnovers, special teams, and making plays.
It seemed like they ran a really no huddle with the tempo was really nice, but then it compounded it with you guys scoring quickly. How tough was that when you guys' offense is rolling, but it kind of puts the defense on the back of their heels when they're on the field a significant amount of time?
Well, and I think people have been playing us a couple different ways. We're getting to the point where if you look at when we're snapping the ball, we're not running plays that quick, but we're making a lot of big plays. People are allowed, tonight we made some big plays where we moved the ball in quick chunks, and even when we tried slowing it down, those big plays get you in the end zone quick. So, our defense was out on the field. But once again, there's 2 things that I point to that we didn't do as good a job, and we talked about this as well, third downs. Still not where we need to be on third downs on both sides of the ball. We didn't convert a couple third downs that I thought would have the third down in the fourth quarter would have been big, and we didn't convert it, and then we went for it on fourth down. But my point is we've got to get better. Getting better on third downs on defense will get us off the field quicker. And then obviously converting more third downs on offense is going to allow us to stay on the field.
How tough was it when they were not even bothering to punt a lot of times when they were 4 down? Does it change the mindset of the defense at all, or is that just how difficult is that when they almost had an extra down most of the time?
And it does a little bit, and once again we cooperated a little bit with allowing a fake punt, and they did a great job of executing. I thought it was a great call. I give them credit for making that call deep in their own end on that opening drive. But you're correct. It is tough when you're playing against 4 downs, especially against a team that's got a good running back. I mean, let's be honest. That running back was leading the nation in scoring. He's a good football player. Their receivers were good players. They've got a good quarterback. The quarterback impressed me from the standpoint that even when we got good pressure on him, we talked about we made a lot of tackles for loss, but he made some fantastic plays running around and escaping pressure. So at the end of the day, once again, their offense was really good, and defensively we stepped up, made some key plays in the turnovers, and that enabled us to win the football game.
Talk about Will Shorts' game. I mean, he player of the game, but 4 sacks, had a 5th tackle for a loss, and that was a forced fumble. He was really getting to the quarterback and kind of leading the way with that pass rush.
And we need that out of Will. And I think Will is a fantastic athlete. He's big, he's strong, he's fast. He's a tough kid, and he knows how to play defensive end. And I thought he really came alive today. And you said it, all those plays were big plays in that game. He made some big plays that turned the tide, that enabled us to get them in tough situations. And he was in his face all day long. And when he didn't get a sack, it seemed like he put on decent pressure. We need that out of all 4 of our defensive linemen.
And offense was very efficient. John Jennings only had 4 incompletions, moved the ball on the field, and the running game keeps on improving. Let's talk about how the efficiency of the offense tonight was really impressive.
Well, I agree with you. Like I said, I think we missed a couple third downs that I'd love to have back, but John did a great job of executing the offense, threw some great balls. Guys made some great catches. Andrew Dillon, one-handed catch. Janice made a couple nice catches in a crowd. I thought our line did a great job of protecting him. I don't remember, other than that last 4th down attempt, where we even got hit. So it's always great to see that type of protection, and if he's got time to throw, and we're going to be okay. And then the other thing is, we spread it around again a little bit. Voltaggio had the first touchdown of the game. Janice caught his share of big plays. Dylan, we threw the ball to Schufert. And I really thought Norman had some big runs for us, some game-changing runs, momentum runs.
And Janice, it seems things open up for him later, have been kind of consistently later in the game, where they seem to be focusing him on early, then he gets his big plays in like the third quarter. Do you get a sense of that, where teams are kind of focusing on early, but then with all your different threats, he kind of makes big plays later?
Well, exactly. And one of the things is we always wait a few downs to see how people are going to play them, because people have played them a lot different this year than they played them last year. And he's seen a little bit more press coverage, but sometimes there's a safety over the top, sometimes there's not a safety over the top. So it's been one of those things where, from a game plan standpoint, we see how teams play other teams. But every week we've seen them play against Jeff different than we saw him play on video against the other team. So it's a matter of us settling in and really trying to make the adjustments against those special type of coverages before we can really start attacking.
And one last question for me. John Jennings made a block on that Norman Schufert run that opened that up and just was really impressive. How important is that when you have a quarterback making those kind of plays? I mean, how important is that to the offense, and it really kind of leads the way to get momentum?
Well, it's important to the offense. It's important to the whole team when you've got your quarterback. And I always say this, that quarterback's got to set the tone for the entire team in terms of toughness first. And not only a block like that, but on that last drive where we were going down to score 51, he made some great runs, refused to get tackled, ran, instead of running out of bounds, lowered the shoulder on their defensive back, extended the ball. He scored that last touchdown. It was a tough run. So I think John's toughness is what I think is setting the tone for this team.
Coach, what are some of the things you're going to focus in on Ferris, against Ferris next week?
Well, Ferris has got a pretty good offense, and they got a great running quarterback. And they don't throw it as much as Lake Erie. They're going to run it more, but they're going to be as wide open and as explosive in the run game. So we've got to do a great job of bouncing back physically, because once again, when your defense is out on the field for as many snaps as they were today, we got to get them back physically. So they got to get in the training room and take care of those bumps and bruises, because we've got to be prepared and focus on being physical this week against Ferris, especially up front, and on both sides of the ball. And then the other thing, when you get ready for a Ferris team, they're going to play aggressive on defense, and we've got to be prepared for them to blitz. We've got to be prepared for them to play press coverage across the board. So it's going to be a great challenge for us. I think, I don't know, did they win tonight? I think they did. Yeah, they're 3-0. We're 3-0. So it's going to be a big game. And I told our guys in the locker room, this is for first place in the GLIAC, and we've got to have a great week of preparation in terms of intensity and treat it as a championship game.